Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
Chris,
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming to you. I'm coming you.
I'm coming to you. Okay. What's
I'm
up?
coming to you today from a place of pure tranquility.
Okay.
I've entered the metaverse.
We're in the metaverse.
I am in the metaverse.
Oh, okay.
You have yet to ascend.
Oh, I have yet to ascend. Okay.
It feels like a Xbox 360 game in here.
Do you have like? So, can you describe what you see around you? Like, is it like just
no one is moving.
Okay.
Like they can move, but they don't animate.
I see. So they're just kind of like hovering almost.
Right. Yeah. Just hovering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or not even that. Like a lot of their shoes are clipped into the ground.
I see. Okay.
But it's so cutting edge. Let me tell you.
It's so cutting edge. Yeah.
Never happened before. For legal reasons, this is a joke. Fuck the Zuck.
You know, it is wild. Like, it is amazing how dumb everyone is. Like, it's kind of like, it's for some reason investors are latching on to this idea of the metaverse as if it is a new thing, and it really isn't. It has. For years, there's been, like, virtual meeting rooms and virtual workspaces. It's been enhanced because of the pandemic, but, like,
right.
That has always been a thing. And certainly virtual meeting spaces in terms of video games or even, like, I don't know. Like, it's not been done before. It's bizarre.
Yeah, and, like, part of it is, I don't think Mark Zuckerberg has any creativity left in him.
No. He's just trying to make money.
Part of the 2012 movie, the point of it was he stole the idea. Like, he didn't even come up with the idea himself. He just put it into action. But it's like, so there's that. There's also, I don't think that, like, you and I spend a lot of time playing video games.
Yes.
I've been running around as a Slavic lion man in Final Fantasy XIV for the past year and change.
Correct. Yep.
And that feels more realistic than the metaverse.
Right, well...
But all the normies do not have that experience. And so this seems cutting edge to them, and that's what makes the news, because they've never played a video game before. Or if they did, it looked like 30 squares.
It looked like Pong. That's what it looked like.
It looked like Pong. And I'm not trying to say, like, people are old, because I don't want to be ageist, but, like, it's just not what they do. No. It's not how they've chosen to spend their time, especially news people who have very, very strict schedules, probably don't have a lot of time to play video games.
No, of course.
And it's just not their demographic, and that is okay. But it's just like a thing of, this has been done before and done better, and Facebook is monopolizing things, which is illegal. So, yes. Like, yeah, you're focusing on the wrong things.
I mean, think of PlayStation Home, think of Rec Room, think of VR Chat. Like, there's all these different elements, all these different areas that it's been done so much better. Yeah, it's. I mean, Roblox is even fucking doing it to some extent too. Like,
Roblox looks better than the metaverse does.
Yeah,
because at least Roblox you can kind of animate your character a little bit.
And like, what is the convenience of it? Anyway, like, is it just because when you look at, like, the Walmart metaverse thing that they have, when you're, like, shopping in a store, what is the convenience of walking around in a virtual space shopping rather than just clicking on and searching for items on a website?
Because it's cool. Because they're making the boring stuff a little bit less boring instead of trying to do cool things that are actually fun.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Fuck off.
Yeah, this has been kind of re-sparked and rehashed too because of certainly this week it's been a lot of that talk with the Microsoft acquiring, like, Activision Blizzard stuff. Like, that was a big part of their press release, was bring up the metaverse, where I think Phil Spencer also came out and he was just kind of like, that's not like, we're just kind of just keep on wanting to make games. Like he didn't even I think that the metaverse comment came from like the guy above him in the Microsoft world, but like it's just it is just for some reason it is just the thing. It's metaverse and NFTs. If either of those things are mentioned in press releases by companies, your stock will go up. Even if you don't cash in on that, you just say the word and you're just like, oh, I need to invest in this because NFTs are the future and metaverse is the future. It's just like, first of all, NFTs are fucked, and metaverse is a thing already. It exists.
Right. People have done it before.
Yeah.
Okay. If a celebrity is getting into NFTs, harass them. It's okay. Don't harass. Harass is not the right word.
Yeah,
Make fun of them on the on the internet.
Yes,
that's good.
And some of them genuinely. I think there's some celebrities that genuinely do not understand what NFT is.
True.
Or advertising either. So I think
most of them just really want to make money, and it's a quick way for them to make money. Reese Witherspoon.
Yes, right, exactly. So it's actually the same exact celebrity I had in mind just now. So just like. You could definitely, like, badger them a little bit on the internet, just so that way they get the point, like, hey, this is what NFTs is fucking doing, and then at least maybe they'll get to them. If they continue to harp on the NFT stuff, then it's like, okay, you're just a shitbag. Like, that's what it is. If it's a one-time thing, maybe it's that they're just confused and don't understand and want to make money, because everyone does, I guess. Wow. This is already a deep conversation to start off this episode of Virtual Boys, but It's understandable because shit's wild, man. Regardless, speaking of wild, we just got done with Super Wildcard Weekend, which is, I guess, is just the permanent phrase now. Like, when do we think the term Super can be tacked off of the Wildcard Weekend thing? Because, like, it doesn't, like, it's still Wildcard, first of all.
Right.
And second of all, it's not even that the product is that great with the wild card either. So, like, do we need to keep on advertising Super Wild Card? It's just the wild card at this point. It's not like this is a one-time thing. Just saying. Just throwing it out there.
I mean, like, and especially since it's like this is going to be the norm from now on.
Yeah. It's just it's a bit weird. But anyways, so Super Wild Card Weekend is over. It was fine. Like, I think that there was some people that like were like, "Oh, that was atrocious," and I'm just like, it was fine. Like you had at least two games that I think were very interesting and really fun. You had one blowout that I felt like was actually pretty entertaining to watch in the Bills, and then I think all the others kind of fell flat. But that's fine. Like, again, this is the round. I tend to prop up the wild card round, but I think I'm going to try to stop doing that. I don't think the wild card is meant to be this exhilarating experience. I think it's meant to just set the stage for ultimately what is going to be the final stretch of this season, where you are down to 8 teams. I think this divisional round is setting up to be really, really good. And we'll get into the specifics of that when we get there. But for now, let's turn back the clock. It's not daylight savings time. Don't worry, because you got like a few more months for that. Turn back the clock. Let's head to Saturday afternoon. The Raiders at the Bengals. I think, Matt, for me, this was the game I was most invested in terms of a rooting interest. Because I think I went into this really feeling like, not that I hate the Raiders, but I felt like the Raiders got in, even if they, even though they've been just kind of not that fun to watch down the stretch. And I felt like this Bengals team deserved at least to make it a divisional round, at least get over their 30-year streak of not winning playoffs. So for you entering this game, like, were you kind of in the same boat as me?
Absolutely, and I used to be like a bigger Bengals fan than I think I am right now, but I have just really enjoyed watching this team.
Mm-hmm.
And my uncle was over, and he and I were watching, and he was also rooting for the Bengals, and just us going insane watching the game with when all the good stuff happened. It was great. I love the Bengals.
Yeah, it's a really...
I was happy to see them win.
Yeah, it's a really interesting team, and again, you know, it was a strong start for them overall. They got, you know, they had their offense moving pretty well, but I think the big moment of the game was the halftime, right before halftime, where Joe Burrow threw a touchdown pass. I believe, was it to T. Higgins? Was he throwing to, or Tyler Boyd?
It was. I want to say Boyd, but it was one of the two.
Yeah. Regardless, and right as he was about to catch the ball, there was an errant whistle by one of the referees, and essentially what should have happened there was that after the whistle was blown, they should have done a replay of that particular down. Instead, the ref said, "Nope, that's a touchdown," and they gave the touchdown to the Bengals. Now, this sparked some controversy, and people felt like that was the Raiders kind of slowed up and didn't tackle the receiver because of that. I didn't quite get that. I feel like this was a little bit overblown of a situation for at least for me. Not to say, you know, refs should not be blowing the whistle errantly. They should be doing their job, but I when you watch that in real time, and I don't know, you let me know if you disagree or not, but it felt like the whistle blew almost right when the ball hit his hand. So I feel like any type of slowing up or anything that the Raiders might have done, I think that they would have done regardless. I feel like the touchdown would have counted regardless. You know, I mean, if they instituted the rule, yes, they would have had to replay it down. But if the whistle never happened, I don't think they would have been that big a deal necessarily. But what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the truth is they blew the call.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is enough to, I think, get angry.
Yes.
But I don't think it affected the outcome of the game. They could have scored the next drive anyway.
Yes.
So it's okay.
Yeah, I also like when you look at the rest of the game, like the Raiders did have like a little bit of a comeback, or in the second quarter specifically, it was like a tight score, in the second quarter, but then the rest of the way, everyone was just kicking field goals constantly. And both defenses really stiffened up, and I don't think it would have affected the game overall. Yeah, maybe it would have gone to overtime in the fourth quarter. And I know obviously that then there was the drive at the end where the Raiders were trying to make the push to get the score, get the touchdown, and then but ultimately were stopped by the Cincinnati defense with the interception. You know, obviously that was a big play, and that was such a satisfying thing to watch, just in a sense of like, this is 30 years of frustration going out the window for the Bengals in this very moment. It definitely was a close game, and you could definitely look at that call and be like, that sucks. But it's like what I've always said and always stood by in this, when even going back to like when it was like the Saints-Rams game. Like, you have to just outplay the refs. I know it's such a shitty thing to lean on, because the NFL does need to get the ref situation in order, but you have to figure out a way to overcome it. And this was early enough in the game where you had all this time to get your offense going, you know, and make the stops there necessary, so that way the Bengals are not in field goal range where they could, you know, build up more of a score. Like, there is ways to have won the game, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, and even then, if the Bengals kick a field goal instead of a touchdown there, they still win.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it definitely is a bummer for the Raiders. It adds to their own playoff drought that they've been dealing with. But I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world. They were lucky to be here, I think, the Raiders in general. You know, just based off of everything that happened to them this year. And I think at this point I would bring up the fact that shortly after this game, basically I think either the next day or day after, they officially dismissed Mike Mayock as general manager. So he's out, and so this is yet another team that is looking for both a new general manager and a new head coach, and that joins the the Vikings, the Bears, and the Giants in that search. So, any thoughts on Mike Mayock being dismissed?
I think it's kind of just a general clean house type of thing. I'm not super surprised, but I would like to see the Raiders be a little bit more aggressive in free agency.
Yeah,
and hopefully a new general manager will kind of help with that.
Definitely, and you can look at Mayock's record. He did get a few gems, but a lot of those gems came in later rounds. For the most part, his first round picks didn't work out.
Really bad.
Yeah,
historically awful.
Yeah, the first round picks did not work out for the team. But the other picks, you got Mack. I think Max Crosby was a Mayock pick. Darren Waller came in free agency from under Mayock. There's a few situations, and then you can get into whose fault was it really? Was it Mayock's or was it Gruden's at the time? Because Gruden did have a lot of say over the personnel, so who knows? I like the move. I think it makes sense. Just clean slate, start from scratch. Reevaluate your organization, and you have enough talent on this team where if you get the right head coach and especially if you get a nice general manager that can help really shape the weaknesses on this team, the Raiders will be competing, and they'll be a fun team to watch. Do you think they keep Derek Carr?
Derek Carr is such a strange quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
There's a line from the John Boyce documentary where it's okay, name your 22nd favorite quarterback. That's right, it's Derek Carr. And that's how I feel about him.
Yeah.
He's about the 22nd best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
But he's never going to kill your team. And if you can invest around him, if you can put in the pieces around him enough, I think that you can have a successful team.
Yeah, I think that he had a really good season overall. I mean, he had his dips, but this was a solid season for him. So I don't know, very interesting. But yeah, Bengals move on to the next round. Very happy for the Bengals, man. Joe Burrow looked as relaxed as he could be in his playoff debut. That
was the wild thing.
Yeah, he definitely didn't play amazing, especially in the second half was a little bit rough, but just out of the gate to just kind of be willing to do a touchdown drive and be all in on it. I think they're in very good shape now that they got through their first playoff game and won their first playoff game. Now I'm interested to see what the next week kind of has in store. All right, next game. The 8:00 game on Saturday was the Bills at Patriots, and oh boy.
This was, according to a tweet, so I'm totally, this isn't 100% verified yet, but I could probably believe it. This was the first perfect offensive game by an NFL team.
It might
where the offense scored a touchdown on every drive, minus the kneel down at the end.
Yeah. Insane.
Yep.
The Buffalo Bills, early on, it was they were going to have a little bit, it seemed like they might have had a little bit of back and forth, but no, the moment that the third touchdown came, I was just oh no, this is turning into a bloodbath here.
Yep.
And even though the Patriots did kind of come back on, and overall, the Patriots offense wasn't terrible in this game. It's just that the Bills defense was so good at not having them score on every drive, and the fact that the Patriots defense just completely just fell apart, and Josh Allen and his legs just ran all over this team, ended up leading a 47-17 victory. It wasn't, the only thing that wasn't perfect about this game for the Bills was the fact that they didn't kick. I think they missed a few extra points.
They missed 2 extra points.
Yeah, that's it.
That was it.
Insane. So what's your takeaways from this, man?
It was wild because we were both hesitant. Like, I picked the Bills, you picked the Patriots. We were hesitant about the Bills.
Yep.
And then they were who we thought they were at the start of the year, who we wanted them to be at the start of the year.
Yes.
And exactly. I really want that to be the truth for the rest of the postseason.
Yeah.
But I just wonder where it was this whole time.
That's the big thing. It could be that they're just... Maybe they're just in their element. I don't know. Like, they had a really good game against the Patriots. You know, their last game against the Patriots when it was in New England. Like, that was a really good game for them as well. So it's tough. Like, maybe it's just that outside of that really strange snow game, the Bills have just had the Patriots number in the last few years. So maybe it's the opponent. I don't know. But there's something about this defense that is just so exciting to watch. You know, on all fronts. I feel like they did, none of them got the credit of like a Pro Bowl or anything, but they're still a number one unit in the league. You know, and then the offense, like they one thing that I think that has changed with the Bills and has changed their offseason, their season for the better, is that their running game has begun to flourish, and that was the big question mark for a lot of this year, has been like, okay, are they going to be able to run the ball? And it hadn't been the case up until, like, I want to say, like, the Buccaneers game, and then at that point, you know, Singletary ended up, I think it was Singletary, that ended up having, like, you know, a major run of it, I think, in the Bucs game, and then certainly had a huge impact in this game, and then, you know, and I don't know, like, it's wild to me. I just didn't expect it from the Bills. I thought that this would be a closer game. I thought that the Patriots would learn from the mistakes that were made in that first one, and that was far from the case. I don't think the Patriots have been blown out in the wild card round before, but not like this.
No,
like, this was a lot different.
I saw on Twitter, Belichick's two weaknesses in the playoffs are playing on the road and being playing on wild card weekend. This is the first time he has been an actual wild card team. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's wild, and so that ultimately led to a really good situation for the Bills, and they walked away with the victory. What do you think happens with New England here? Like, do you think that they're just going to roll with... They're obviously going to... Belichick's sticking around, and Mac Jones seems like he's in good shape. Do you think that they need to add anything more to their offense? Because it seemed like there was people that ended up stepping up for them. Or do you think the focus is just going to be on defense in the offseason?
Do they really need that much defensive work?
After this game, yes.
Well, after that game, yeah. But I don't know. This could have been just a fluke for them. I think that they will be fine. They'll be solid. Mac Jones is a good quarterback for them for right now.
Yeah, I think some of the older guys might have to go for the Patriots. Like, Dante Hightower, maybe Devin McCourty, Lawrence Guy. Like, there are a lot of these guys that have been around for the Patriots forever. They're just not playing well. Kind of Kyle Van Noy, Jamie Collins had a decent game, but like all I think we're the only defensive player that seemed to really kind of get going in this game in any way was Christian Barrymore, but that was their, you know, one of their draft picks, I believe. That was a guy that had been playing well. I think they make this defense younger, and that's maybe their go-to work in the off season. But everything else seems like they're in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next up, the 1:00 game on Sunday. The Buccaneers, the Eagles, and this went as we thought.
Stinky.
Very
stinky game.
Yeah, 31-15 Buccaneers. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting in the beginning because the Eagles' defense, I think, was kind of like stopping the Bucs from scoring a few times. But then just the floor opened up and it just was, all right, no, this is over. The Eagles didn't score until the fourth quarter. Like, it was a 31-0 game at one point. just ugly. And now it now goes to questions of, like, does the Eagles stick with Jalen Hurts? That I know after the game, or a few days after the game, Sirianni kind of talked about in a press conference saying that Hurts is going to be the starter in 2022, which shows confidence in that.
I think he's done enough to deserve a chance.
Yeah, I think so too. It's weird because it's like it always has felt like he hasn't had a lot of rope. Hurts this year, because I feel like there's always like this push for, like, you know Gardner Minshew's ready to be stepped in right here. But I also just I don't know. I think that Hurts has done well. And give credit to, in terms of the depth on their offensive line and their defensive line, that kind of kept them in the game, but they need to work on their back end for their defense. And once again, like, it's like the Eagles just need more weapons in the passing game, especially. It's just not working for them.
Devonta Smith, good find.
Yes.
They'll need more, though.
Yeah. 100%. There you go. So then we had the mid game. This was the game I think that everyone was looking forward to this weekend. It was the 49ers at Dallas Cowboys, and ultimately was the only game where a road team won this weekend, but it was done in just absurd fashion.
On Nickelodeon.
On Nickelodeon. I'll get your thoughts on that in a second, but
sure.
This, I mean, what did we keep saying all season long? Like, this Cowboys team has all the talent to win a Super Bowl, but the thing that's going to set them back is Mike McCarthy. And what set them back in this game?
Nothing is truer than that statement in this game.
Yeah.
Holy shit, did he suck?
Yeah, it was a lot of penalties, 14 penalties that were just completely unnecessary. And it wasn't just like holds and things that could be objective. This was false starts. This was like, offside stuff. This is all the things that they teach you in terms of being like disciplined. And I don't know. I always, that kind of language is always weird with football. It's like, it's like you're like punishing people or whatever. It's just bullshit. But whatever. Regardless, though, you should know as a football player trying to not move before the snap, and when you're on defense, you're not supposed to be over the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
like, it's just basic things that any player should know. And it's not. You could definitely blame the players for that, but that's on coaching. Coaching should teach that. They can't just be coaching in a sloppy way, and this was a very, very sloppy game.
And then can we talk about the play call?
Yeah. So the Cowboys had one last drive. They had the chance to potentially. They were down big in this game. They came back enough where they were back in the game and things were looking good. 49ers had a chance to close it out. They couldn't do it, so they punted to the Cowboys. The Cowboys had one drive to try to move down the field, even though they didn't really have, I don't think, any timeouts. So they started out by like doing what they should do and passing on the outside and having the receivers go out of bounds so that they stop the clock. And they did that for a few plays, and then they reached midfield. And yes, this is where a lot of controversy's at. They had a chance with the time on the clock to throw one, maybe two Hail Marys to, see if they can get, a touchdown. And they were in pretty good field position to do so. But the play call, with like 10 seconds left in the game, is a quarterback run. And Dak Prescott runs it long enough and slides to the point where it's like 5 seconds on the clock when he gets down, and they have to rush to get the ball back to the center and ready to snap it. But by rule, the referee has to place the ball. They have to touch the ball.
Because of course he does.
Right.
So you can't spot it yourself, right?
Yeah, you can't spot your own ball. Like, you can't. That is an absurd thing. You should not be doing that. What should have happened if they really, really wanted to rush it is that Dak, instead of handing the ball to his center, Dak should have handed it to the ref. Didn't happen.
Yep.
The ref had to squeeze himself between all the big old linemen to touch the ball and then get out of the way. And by the time that Dak goes to clock it, it's triple zeros on the clock. The game is over, and everyone's like, "What the fuck just happened?" And so it was great. It was great TV for me. I really enjoyed this game.
I also loved the aspect of like the head ref coming out to like explain, like he was about to explain, and then he just says basically the game is over, and then runs away like the Skeletor meme.
Yes, I know. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Just good comedy.
Yes. It is just it was so representative of this team, of what has happened this year. This Cowboys team again that showed that it is talented and showed that could play with some bigger contenders, but then had really sloppy games down the stretch, especially against the Broncos and the Cardinals, and and then it just ended kind of how you would expect with a Cowboys team. We were hoping that this year would be different, but it's not, and it points back to McCarthy, unfortunately.
Imagine if they hired a good coach. Where would they be now?
Yeah. I don't know. The big thing that keeps on being stated from people is that the head coaches that get hired for Dallas tend to be just yes men for Jerry Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not good. And it's not in the long run good. Like you could give credit to the Joneses for the fact that they seem to be very good player evaluators. They seem to know how to pick out a talented quarterback, a talented defensive player, whoever, but they can't pick coaches for shit. And it's a problem that has gone for a while now, and I don't know how they get out of it. I thought McCarthy could get fired. That didn't happen. I thought he would get fired out of this game, but I think
God, they don't have the guts for that. Cowboys don't have the guts for that.
Well, right. I mean, they held on to Jason Garrett for how long? So
yeah,
it's wild. But where do you think this Cowboys team goes now?
I have no fucking idea, dude.
Yeah.
They should have been good. They should have won a playoff game. They just couldn't. This was not their time, and it's because of the coaching. I actually just watched a video earlier today. Shout outs 5 Point Sports on what makes a bad head coach. It's pretty good. Mike McCarthy's one of them.
I would imagine. Yeah. So that's I'm glad that some weird play calls really kind of contain, like, I'm glad that the Cowboys carried the legacy of weird play calls in the NFC East. From after the Giants were eliminated, they're like, no, we're gonna pick up the sword.
We have to be weirder.
We have to be weird now. And yeah, it's just a wow. NFC East only division not in the divisional round, so fitting.
Unsurprising.
Yes.
Oh damn, you're right. Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes sense with everything, but
yes. Yeah. Then Sunday night, Steelers Chiefs, dud. I mean, Steelers made it interesting. They had a 7-0 lead at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that didn't last very long.
No. TJ Watt tried his best. Couldn't do it. Couldn't save a big old Ben from not being a good quarterback. Yeah, not much to say here. Steelers are going to go into this offseason. It's going to be interesting because they'll be their first time that they're really going to be looking for a quarterback because Big Ben's not going to be there. So I'm very curious to see if they do something in free agency or in the draft. That's really all I have to say on this one.
Yep.
And then finally, Rams, Cardinals. Another stinker. But this one just has, I don't know, there's just something really fascinating about this one.
This one was another wild one, similar to the Bills, where it's like, where the hell was this?
Yeah.
And it could partially be the Cardinals were not who we thought they were. That much is totally part of it. I don't think you can divorce that from it. But, oh boy. The Stafford played amazing. The receivers were amazing. The defense kicked ass. It was amazing to watch.
Yeah, it was amazing because like OBJ had a great game, Von Miller had a great game, like all these players that these big acquisitions that we felt like were these big splashes at a time that felt like that during like some of the lower moments of the season felt like, man, it's just not coming together. It's not working. It just came together in this game, and there was a conspiracy that I read somewhere where it's just like, what if this whole time Sean McVay was pretending to run his offense through Cooper Kupp, it made people think that Kupp was their only weapon. Because ultimately, Kupp did not have like a huge impact on this game. Everyone else combined, along with Cam Akers, it was just everyone was just doing so well in this game. Like they didn't need anything else.
Can we talk about Cam Akers too? Dude comes back from an Achilles injury he had in July and kicks ass.
Yeah, it's just insane. It's insane. And then you get like Eric Weddle rather.
Eric Weddle.
Like comes out of retirement to join the Rams again.
Just what is happening, and is this the greatest decision ever?
Yeah.
Is this all coming together at all the right time? Because it might be.
It is incredible. And yeah, I cannot believe it. That this was such a dominant game. I really thought this was going to be closer just because of just, how weird both teams have been, and it always felt like whenever these two teams played, it was always like a turning point in their seasons in some capacity. And this clearly is one for the Rams. For the Cardinals, it was a turning point to the end. And on the Cardinals side of things, it is so bizarre how this is just a continual trend for Cliff Kingsbury. Now, granted, people keep on citing that he did this in college too. Keep in mind that the way that the schedules kind of are structured in college is that the super easy teams are like in the first 3 weeks,
right?
And then you get like your actual conference, and those are obviously going to be a harder play. So, yes, it is a trend, and it's an alarming trend that we are seeing, that Cliff Kingsbury has these really strong starts and then just flounders. And I don't know. I don't know whether or not it's, worth looking into another head coach. I don't know if there should be looking at, changing general management. I don't know. I don't know what the Cardinals do. But
and I honestly don't think general management is the issue, because they have really good personnel. They've swindled the fuck out of Bill O'Brien on multiple occasions, which is still just funny as hell to me.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like it's insane.
If it's anything, it's the coaching, or it's just, hey, can we get this team to be more consistent? Because you see where they are at their best, and it's not like that they can only play their best football in September. That's not how logic works.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how it's a psychological thing. So can you overcome that psychological aspect?
Yeah,
that's the big question.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of scrutiny on Kyler Murray as well. Just this really bad interception, the pick six that he threw. And just generally, that there's moments that he didn't play well, but then you make the argument though that he's also at times had been their best offensive player. So it's down the stretch specifically, like it's a tough situation. It really sucks for Cardinals fans, because this really felt like a really unique year for them. It felt like that they were on top of the world and that things were going to work out well, and to have this exit just really is a kick in the gut. So we'll see. It's gonna be a really interesting offseason. How much can they change to potentially, have this work out for them in the future? We'll see. It's a tough division though, because you got two other NFC West teams that are still in the playoffs now, and that will probably be a contender for playoffs next year. Because who knows if any of those talent's gonna be missing next year, and then you have a Seahawks team that, who knows, if Russ sticks around and that team doesn't go into rebuild mode, and they actually do a good job of rebuilding some of that roster, it's gonna get tougher for the Cardinals. This was a big chance for them. They blew it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. That is our deep dive into the wild card round, specifically focusing on the losers, because we'll have plenty of time to talk about the winners because they're still in it, and we're going to be picking their games coming up right after these messages. It has been 2 years since we started Team Chaos Productions, and we would not be where we are today without the help of Anchor. You've heard us talk about it all the time, but let me remind you, this completely free platform gives creators the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your computer or phone. Once done, Anchor will distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more, so you don't have to. You can also make some money on the episodes with no minimum listenership. It's everything you'd ever want in a podcasting platform, so download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Happy podcasting.
Sick of talking about video games with people who just want to be toxic? Me too. So join us over at the Gaming Coop. We come together each month to talk about what we love about video games. Discussion topics range from our favorite soundtracks to the best relationships between characters. We also have some fun segments in which we play some trivia or build our school of gaming. Find us on Anchor or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Game on!
And we're back.
Right. So I think I want to say this up front.
Sure.
Out of the 5 teams that are left, or the 8 teams that are left, I spoiled myself. I want 5 of them to win the Super Bowl this year.
Who, out of curiosity,
I would be okay with 5 of them winning.
Okay. Well, who are that 5? What's that 5?
I think it would be easier for you to guess who the 3 aren't.
The 3, I would assume it's Chiefs, Bucks, and Packers.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm kind of in a similar state of mind as you are, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
where if the Rams, 49ers, Bills, Bengals, or Titans won.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
You have, in the AFC, you have 3 out of the 4 teams who have never won a Super Bowl before. Like, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Come on, please.
Like, we're so close.
We're this close.
You are guaranteed to have an AFC championship where at least one team has not won a Super Bowl before.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge. NFC side, you're guaranteed to have someone that has won it at this point. But, at least it is the Rams and Niners. Niners being probably the most interesting just because they have not been in a Super Bowl since 2012, and Rams, yes, they were in it recently, but they didn't win it. Packers, Packers would be more interesting. But I think the public image of Aaron Rodgers specifically has faded big time this season, and I think a lot of people are maybe rooting against that idea. Not to say that any of the other players on that team aren't deserving. It's just he's the face of it right now. And then you have the Buccaneers and Tom Brady, who has won so many fucking Super Bowls and yet again is at this point. So it's wild. It is wild. There's so many really, really interesting stories left. I think this is the most interesting divisional round that we've seen. Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe we felt this way last year too, but it really feels like all 8 of these teams have a shot at the Super Bowl.
It does. It really does.
I can't think of another year that it really felt like these 8, like all these matchups seem super duper close. That they all seem like toss-ups to me. This is going to be a very, very difficult one to pick, and we're going to have to pick them anyway because that's our job on this podcast.
Yeah.
Do want to do some cleanup real quick. So last week we assigned video games to each of the teams. So this is what's left on each side. We have in the AFC, it's Hollow Knight, A Way Out, Celeste, and Pokemon Emerald. Those are the 4 games that are left in the AFC. In the NFC, it's Overcooked, BioShock, Halo Infinite, and Outer Wilds.
All right.
So that is the current layout of the video game landscape for these NFL teams. Yeah, I don't have anything else to really bring up. There's also the fact that we both went 5-1 last week.
Which is pretty good for us.
Yeah,
honestly.
No, yeah, I mean, well, I think the playoffs it tends to be better, I think, with picks, but yes, with wildcard, with this one specifically, I think it was helpful that a lot of the favorites won. Granted, but yes, 5-1. We had 2 disagreements, but we split on those where Matt got the Bills right, I got the 49ers right. So, really, really interesting stuff. I'm fascinated to see where you're going to pick here. I kind of think I know where you're going to pick in terms of games that you've already kind of mentioned, like teams that you already picked for the Super Bowl for, but I really don't know where you're going to go with this. This is going to be really, really interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. So let's get into it. The Bengals at the Titans. This fucking game, if you're talking like dream AFC matchups, just not even like, I'm not even talking like from the personnel point of view. Like the Bengals and Titans are 2 teams that just had all these years, in at least my time of being a football fan, of being in the playoffs in one point or another and getting close every single time. And Titans have made it to the AFC Championship game. Bengals never got past the wild card round, but like, it's still just so interesting, these 2 teams being there, both never having won the Super Bowl, and just now, like, one of them gets a chance to make it to the semifinal, and it's just so exciting. Derrick Henry might be back for this game. That is huge. Matt?
Yeah, that's the insane part.
Yes.
You just add Derrick Henry.
Yeah, just insert Derrick Henry here. That's where we're at. It's insane. Matt, what do you think is going to happen here?
There are a lot of games this is the hardest game that for me to pick this week, because I legitimately really like both teams. I want to see both teams do well. I would love it if the Bengals made the Super Bowl. Like I would be rooting for them so hard if they did.
Yeah.
I need to, like, we haven't seen the Titans in a bit, and we still don't know, like, what the Titans are with Derrick Henry. Well, we fucking do, but been a while, right?
It's been a bit.
Right. I'm going to pick the Titans. I would not be upset with the Bengals win, but I have to believe my understanding of this team got to the number 1 seed without Derrick Henry. We're able to win a lot of football games. Mike Vrabel is one damn fine coach.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to do the right things to win.
Yeah, I also picked the Titans, and it goes to the point that I picked them to win the Super Bowl, but I just feel like this is an organization that is ready. It just feels like their defense is there. It's at a point where they're ready to stop whoever is coming to town, and the Bengals are going to be a very tough test. And I think having Derrick Henry back is huge. I think having A.J. Brown, is going to be a bigger X factor even in this game, and getting him down the field. It is such a tough pick. Like I said, I'm picking the Titans. I do really, I think I'm rooting for the Bengals though, deep down. Yeah. Because what a story that would be. If they just
I would not be upset with either outcome of this game.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll put it that way.
It's really close. So it's gonna be a lay back and just kind of enjoy the show type situation here for both of us. So there you go. Next game.
Cool. What is the next game, Chris? I don't have them up.
Oh, sorry. I'll just keep going with the intros. I'm good with that.
Sure, yeah. Sure.
49ers at the Packers. It is the Saturday evening game. This is the exact opposite, I think, of the Bengals-Titans game for me in terms of I'm excited for the game. I think it's going to be good and I think it'll be interesting. I don't really have a care for either of these teams. Like, if either of these teams won the Super Bowl, I'd be annoyed with the Aaron Rodgers thing, but overall, I wouldn't mind if the Packers won the Super Bowl. I wouldn't mind the 49ers winning the Super Bowl. Like, I kind of like both teams are just like meh to me overall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate them. I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but I don't hate anything else. So it's like I sit here and I'm like, whoever wins here is just probably going to be the team I'm going to maybe root against, depending if the Rams make it to the next round. You know, and so we'll see. Or rooting for maybe if the Buccaneers make it. I don't know. But I think what's really, really interesting about this game, Matt, is you get this 49ers defense that has really stepped up versus a Packers offense that really has been lights out throughout the year in both their running game and in the passing game. What do you think is going to happen here?
I'm a little bit worried about injuries for both. Both of these teams. I think as much as it pains me to say it, I think I'm still going to pick the Packers.
Okay.
I'm going to be rooting hard for the 49ers, and I do think that Kyle Shanahan has a chance to outcoach LaFleur and Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
But I just think that the Packers have been the most consistent team this year. And unless Aaron gets COVID again before Sunday.
Could fucking happen, man.
Yeah. Since, he's not vaccinated and can catch COVID again.
Yeah.
I don't quite see the 49ers path to winning.
Yeah. I think I'm going Packers as well. These are two teams that have the history has been the 49ers blow out the Packers and just destroy them. That was, in terms of history, meaning like 2019 was that year for them, right?
Yeah.
This past year, these two teams played, and it was a very, very close game. Led to that field goal on Sunday Night Football. I think it was Sunday night, where the Packers won. I think it's going to be a tight game. I don't see this being a blowout. I'm going to lean Packers too, though. I just think that they are, like you said, they're the more complete team here. They're the team that has been the most consistent, has been winning a lot. I think the Niners are just kind of they're in a really good position. They have a lot of talent. I just worry about Jimmy G giving that ball away and maybe turning this game against them. And so that's kind of where I'm at with them. So going Packers.
All right.
Next up, the 3:00 game on Sunday, Rams at Buccaneers. This is a frequent playoff matchup, and you may be like, wait, what? But I feel like I've seen games between the Rams and Buccaneers back in like the early 2000s when Kurt Warner was around, and whoever the fuck was playing for the Bucs at that time. Like these two have played a few times in the playoffs before, so. But now it's much different, obviously. This is a battle between Matt Stafford, Tom Brady. We saw this matchup earlier in the year where the Bucs lost that game to the Rams, and it was kind of in decisive fashion. And now it's very interesting because you got a Bucs team that is kind of injured, but you also have a Rams team that blew up big this past week, but are playing on a short week and have not been known as being the most consistent team either. What do you think is going to happen?
It's about peaking at the right time. I really hope that the playoffs are the peaking at the right time for the Rams. I'm a little bit worried about the Buccaneers' offense overall. The Eagles are such a pushover team that yes. I'm not surprised that the Bucs did what they did. Doing what the Rams did against the Cardinals, I think, is more impressive. McVay already was able to beat the Buccaneers once. I'm a little bit worried about Bucs' offensive line and their receivers. I think the Rams defense can have a field day with this team. I'm going the Rams. I feel more confident than I should be about it. if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
But I'm going Rams.
I'll be real. Like, I feel like out of all the games, this was the easiest to pick, and it's for the road team. And I don't know what it is. I think it's just that the Bucs are shorthanded. I think that they did not expect the season to fall apart in front of them in the last few weeks in terms of the losing like their receivers and then to injury and to shirtlessness, and then the getting the injured on defense, and then Fournette's still not playing for them. Right?
I don't think so. No, I don't think he's coming back.
So I don't think they expected their team to be at this point. At this point, meaning like at this point injury wise, like I think they expected to make it to the divisional round, but of
course
they're in a weird state, and I think that they can beat the Rams for sure. I'm not at the point where I completely trust the Rams, but I also feel like if you like you said, Matt, they're peaking at the right time. They have a lot of talent on their side, and I feel like this is a game where if the Bucs aren't just bang bang early, like really just getting score after score after score on this Rams team, I think you lose it quickly, and I think the Rams just have what it takes to take down the Bucs here. So I'm also going Rams.
All right, so we're in lockstep so far.
Yes. But now we move to the final game of the weekend. It's 6:30. AFC, Bills at Chiefs. Could be winner of this goes to the Super Bowl for all we know, but this was a rematch of the AFC Championship game last year, and now both teams are coming off of blowout victories over their opponents, and both blowouts felt a little bit different from each other, but they're still blowouts, and they're still games between two top 5 quarterbacks, defenses that are peaking at the right time, lots of weapons. It's going to be a big fucking game. What do you think's going to happen here?
I'm riding the Buffalo into the sun. Let's go Bills.
There you go.
I stuck my flag in this team at the beginning of the year. I still, the confidence wavered. The fact that they did what they did against New England was insane.
Yeah. This is the game I'm going to have the most invested in, because I really, really want the Bills to win it. I really, really want the Bills. I want a new AFC representative for the Super Bowl, and I would love it to be the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do it. I can't pull the trigger. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I knew this was going to be where we have the fork in the road here. Because I was just like I can't pick against the Chiefs. Again, all these games are tough to pick. Across the board, and so I think the Bills have such a good chance that I think they could even blow out the Chiefs if things go the right way for them. I just, for some reason, I'm sitting here and I feel like it's in Arrowhead. They play so well in Arrowhead during the playoffs. Andy Reid's just in such a good position where he can learn the lessons from their loss to the Bills earlier in the year and maybe build on that and know how to stop them this time around. The defense is so much better from the last time they played it too, so it's just it's a lot of just I don't want the Chiefs to win this, because again, like, it would just be nice to see someone new come to the Super Bowl here, but I think that this is going to be at least one more game for the Chiefs. I think they're going to push it to the AFC Championship game here, so it sucks, but I'm going Chiefs.
All right. The one game that we disagree on.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It is... I am rooting so hard, more with my heart than my head, I think, with the Bills.
Of course. But you have logic on your side, too, though.
I have logic. They can do it. They can absolutely do it.
Yeah.
Bills beat up on the Patriots. Chiefs beat up on the fucking Steelers.
Yes. And it was a perfect game.
The Steelers had no offense in that game.
Yeah, exactly. No, you are... No, I think... in fact, are the Bills... I'm curious if the Bills are even favored.
Ooh, let me look.
I feel like they probably would be.
Bills, Chiefs, spread.
Yeah, hold on, let's see. No, 1.5.
No, Kansas City slim favorite.
Yeah, 1 point. All the home teams are favored, but that is the closest spread of the bunch. There, the furthest spread is the Packers and 49ers. I disagree with that spread though. I feel like that. I don't know why. I just feel like the Rams Bucks game has more of a potential for the Rams to dominate, just based solely on what has happened in the last few weeks. This is going to be so fascinating. I am so excited to see what kind of happens, what unfolds, because it's going to be it could be a really, really good round of playoffs. Hopefully we're not jinxing it. Hopefully it's actually going to be good and not like,
not like last weekend.
I know last year you had like the Browns Chiefs game was interesting, but overall like that divisional round didn't end up being like that amazing. So I'm hopeful that this one is going to be really special.
All of these just down to the wire.
Yes. Yeah. And it could happen. I hope it does.
Giving us heart palpitations.
Yes. Exactly.
I think I'm using that word right.
I think so. I think so. I won't hold against you. All right. So there you go. That is your divisional round picks and previews. Oh man. I don't know, man. It's exciting. It's very fascinating to see how this going to unfold.
I know, and just the reality that it's like, oh, the Chiefs are in again. I don't like it.
There's a strong reality where it's going to be Bucks Chiefs again, and that's
which would suck.
It's just
because this season has been so much more than your run of the mill season, and having a Bucks Chiefs finale or even a Packers Chiefs finale would be the worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really would. So let's hope we get something that really fits our chaotic branding here. You know, that it's just really that
give us chaos
in the best way. Just to be real, like I feel like in my heart of hearts, I'm rooting for all the road teams. So that would be truly chaotic.
Yeah,
that would be where that's at. So we'll see. All right, folks. I think I decided to delay VBFL another week just because of the playoffs. A lot of chaos with that. A lot going on with that in terms of just the scheduling and stuff. So we'll, if you're up for it, Matt, we'll try for the championship weekend for that Saturday before.
Sure, we'll see what's going on.
Yeah, for the next VBFL round. Which is usually when we did it last year too. So it just would make sense timing wise. Cool. So, usual, talking points of just check out all of our other podcasts across all our networks. Check out at Team Chaos Pods for more details. And with all that being said, we will see you next week.
Good night and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.